to three types of accessibility issues. So it says, what is accessibility? Now we all know, let's just see this definition. Accessibility allows for all abilities to users of all abilities to understand, use and enjoy the web. As designers, it is our responsibility to make sure we design in a way that usable to all users, irrespective of their situation, abilities, or the context. The first and foremost step to build an accessible product is to build empathy and install an inclusive design mentality. Yeah, this is important. Like I would say, frankly speaking, when I came to Amazon, this becomes very profound. This becomes the highlighted, or I would say, this is what I learned in Amazon. Like installing the inclusive design mentality from the starting. Though it will always, you might think, अरे ये तो थोड़ा ugly दिख रहा है. I think this is looking better and that is looking better. It's our biases, okay, and we have to accept that. And uh, through this mentality, we have to create the beautiful designs for our users. Okay. So simply speaking, accessibility is about making sure everyone can use your product effectively. Okay, simple language. You can see there the types of user. Okay, and these are very common in a way. Like the handicap user, so many users are there in a way. Baby in one arm, like so many users are there who usually use one hand. They might be eating or anything, or maybe babysitting or whatever the option would be. You have to always think about. That's why we also check if your CTS are in the thumb in the most reachable area for user, so that they can quickly do the things what they want to do. Like for example, I was working on the competitive analysis for the scanner section. Like so, phone pay scanner. Let's see. Like मुझे मोबाइल की स्क्रीन चाहिए थी, but okay, but you would see like the designer has specifically kept the options, okay, near your thumb area, near the bottom area, so that usually people don't use two hands to scan any particular QR. वो क्या करते हैं, एक हाथ में रहता है, स्कैन करता है, and then maybe to type out the numbers and all they would use two hands. But usually जो scan होता है वो एक हाथ से ही होता है, if you would observe users, right? We also observed it and we saw this thing. So making keeping all the options just near to your thumb area. Again, it can be right-handed people, left-handed people. Okay, so you have to keep it in a very strategic place. It is easier for all of this type of users in a way. So that is basically you are thinking about the accessibility for lefty and righty also in a way. Okay. Let's go to next. What are the accessibility issues? Accessibility issues, accessibility pertains to the idea of ensuring the product or service. ये बार बार पढ़ना पड़ रहा है यार, ये क्या है? Let's check all of these things. Where there are legal requirements for accessibility to aid people with disabilities, designers should proactively aim to cater to the wide range of users across various contexts. Embracing this approach yields significant advantage, primarily resulting in the improved design that benefits all. Okay, so we know as let's just see this example. Okay, accessibility issues. Okay, like right now, if you see, if I just say red, if I just color this red, it might not talk about what is the problem, right? Most of the user might struggle. My mom will struggle. क्या हुआ, ये red क्या है? Highlight करके दिखाया क्या? Something like that. But if you add the proper text, please enter valid email address. They know like email address is over here. I have written email address, but it says like having a valid email address sentence, it clarifies more thing. You don't have to think about in a way. There is no cognitive load in this. Like everything is uh, like spoon feed in a way. Okay. And that improvises the experience. Accessibility issues. So we'll just see what are the kinds of accessibility issues. Uh, Now here it's are the type of content and structure. Okay. So meaningful links. Okay. So it said avoid links that say click here or content free text like more details applied to the list of links. Okay, it just say instead of click here, use descriptive link like read more, or maybe read more about our, let's say if you are talking about the accessibility settings or accessibility feature, I would say this is about accessibility. Read more about our accessibility features, so that, and then user will basically click in a way. Like over here you see go vote, it says, like, so whenever you click, you understand, like it will take us to the go vote page or voting page or something like that. We don't say click here for go vote or something like that, right? Always give context to every link. Do not say click here or things like that. Okay, because sometimes user might be colorblind, right? They might not be able to understand what is it when you just say click here. But when you add a hyperlink over here, hyperlink with the dash at the end of this, it is more easier to understand. Okay, this is kind of a link which will take me to over here, rather than if I just say click here without giving any hyperlink or something. Okay. The benefits are, again, it would help user with motor impairment, cognitive limitations, or visual disabilities by helping them to avoid unnecessary keystroke to visit a content that is not relevant to them. Okay. So if you must have seen Google does not say click here, click here, click here. It creates that link only hyperlink, right? What I say is, like, when I'm searching for this, all these blue colors. Okay, once you hover over this, it has this dash also, right? You might say it is not looking good in a way when I'm hovering on it. Okay, but it is not for like a decoration or something. It is for accessibility because this is a link, and this means it will take you to some page in a way. Okay. Okay, moving to next. Again, use of colors. Okay, don't specify important information by color alone. Okay, like same as this. Like if it is important, don't just show it with the color itself. Okay, use the combination of text, color, or graphical object. Okay, benefit, like over here, this is more about the contrast. Okay, like if you have white text on blue color, you might say, oh, I'm able to read, but on the contrast ratio is that it's just 2.49, 2.94, when the required is 4.9. 4.9 is the uh, baseline. Basically you have to have a 4.5 contrast ratio to start with in a way. Okay, below, anything below this is the bad design, bad experience. Okay, when you have this one, okay, this is harder to read, but right, it passes the contrast, but it is harder to read for us in a way. This is easier to read. Okay, so you have to always see for this, even if the contrast ratio it is passing, but is it easier to read or not in a way? Or you might want to add some text or some other graphical object in a way. Okay, so again, it is again useful for partial sight or limited color vision, color blindness, and for users who use text only. Okay, limited colors or monochromatic display screen. Okay, some users have monochromatic display screens as well, so they won't be able to use your website if you have not taken those things into consideration. Okay, like you can see, like there is an interesting thing which I've read, like uh, color coding finance chart, color blind people. Let's go to image. I'm not getting the expected result I want. This is not what I'm. This is the one actually. So if you see this particular graph, it does not use just colors in a way. Okay, but it has a distinct visual elements also for this graph. So if I, let's just take this copy image, and if I put it in the over here, so let's say we will be able to see it correctly, as in a way, we means I'm saying about the people with no visual aid is required in a way. Okay, so I will be able to read. But what about those who are colorblind? Okay, let me just make it luminosity. Okay, for them, if it would be a single color, user won't be able to figure out the difference between this and this in a way. What I'm trying to say. Okay, so they are using different graphic. This has some checkerboard and this has some vertical lines. These again some white and black dots, something like that. Okay, so it still work for that particular user who is color blind as well. Okay, so that is what it. I just wanted to show you when you are creating charts using colors. Don't just rely on the colors itself. Okay, think more about the people who are colorblind and all. Okay. Next is consistent navigation. Okay. Ensure that the repeated components occur in the same order on each page of the site. Okay. So like if you are saying order submitted as tick mark, then whenever your setting is getting saved or something like that, it shows tick mark. Like if you have used Google Pay, Phone Pay, you pay any particular bill, okay? It usually gives you same check marks. It's not like if you pay bill, it will show you something else, or if you do some like if you send money to someone, it will show something else. No, right? So usually use the consistency in between the your design element as well. Okay, and even the same order you should use. Okay, it is helpful for user with cognitive limitation, low vision, and intellectual disabilities as it becomes easier to predict where they can find things on each page. Okay, I am not able to recollect any particular any more example on this one. Let's think about it. No, I'm not able to recollect any particular example on this one. Okay. But I think the example that I give regarding phone pay, GPay, that also works in a way. Like even for the Amazon also, like the overall process of booking, it's in same in Flipkart as well as in Amazon. Sometimes user understand what they're gonna expect on a particular screen. The navigation is in a way consistent. Okay, whether it be any particular app or they can be any particular category pages and all of those. Okay, content and structure. Okay, consistent components. Okay, this is simple. If icons and other non-text component content have the same functionality, okay, icons or other non-text content, okay, so means more in the graphical way, have the same functionality, then their text alternative should be consistent as well. Then their text alternative should be consistent as well. Okay. This is more about the bullet points or if you're using, okay, if their icons are in a way consistent, their text elements also has to be consistent. Like you cannot use a different font style. I think naturally we won't use, but this when we are not using it, the reason is basically we are thinking about the inclusivity for all of these people. Just to making it fancy we can do, but then we are excluding those users also. That is the cons that we have to understand. Okay, the consistent use of component with the same functionality helps people to identify components on different pages with desired functionality, and it lowers the cognitive load also. Imagine you would be seeing different button styles on different pages. You might be you might keep thinking why this button is this way and not the way which you saw in earlier pages, right? So that again increases the cognitive load. So people with less cognition might find it difficult to navigate. Okay. Okay. Use of headings. Use descriptive and informative page titles, page headers, uh, and labels for form and interactive controls should be informative. So as it says, I mean, this required no explanation, right? Use descriptive and informative page title. Okay, page heading and label of form and interactive control should be informative. whatever elements that you are having on the screen, it has to be informative in a way, it says. Okay, all the kinds of controls and that the things that you would add. Okay, this can help user with limited short-term memory, low vision, and difficulty reading text. They can see only few words at a time and know the purpose of each section. Okay, so avoid writing long text or like paragraph to just make user understand all of this thing. Sometimes user not able to keep things in their short-term memory also. Okay, device independent design. Don't rely on device independent interaction. Example hover to convey information or to complete tasks. This is again simple. If let's say in this particular example, okay, if let's say if I'm using this particular button, okay, and I would say when I hover or on this button, then only I'll tell the functionality of this button. Okay, but what about, and this is you are basically thinking on the website. Okay, so for website you can do this, but what about when it comes to responsive screen on the mobile? In mobile, user won't be able to hover on the button, right? So if you add a crucial functionality or crucial understanding about this particular button in the hover effect, then it would get missed for a lot of like the user who was just using mobile. It's not they are disabled or something, but they can't hover. Like it is device dependent, right? Features. So don't make it device dependent features. Okay, make it device independent. कोई भी device आए, whatever you want to communicate, it should get communicated on kind of devices. Okay, this can help user with low vision and cognition disabilities. They can have adequate time to perceive additional content appearing on hover or focus, or and to view the trigger content with less distraction. So usually you will see this button and the functionality or the hover functionality. Usually, how I see it, I I usually don't add anything on hover at the start itself. Okay, I usually try to see all the website without any hover effect or something. Hover is basically adding a more context to anything in a way. More context, not the only context in a way. For example, I'll show you a website that I designed. Go to this is the earlier company I used to work with. Okay, so let me just see if I go from Bangalore to Mumbai on this 30th. If I search, okay, so now when I'm showing this particular information, let's say this Alaska Air, okay, user can, let's say if I want to understand what is BLR means or what is BOM means, I can click, and when it opens, I give them the complete information. This is Bangalore to Mumbai, BLR के नीचे ये लिखा है कैंपेगौड़ा इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट बेंगलुरु इन छत्रपति शिवाजी एयरपोर्ट टर्मिनल्स मुंबई slash in. But then let's say I want to on hover also, I'm just giving more context. If I just hover over this, I'm also saying Kempegowda International Airport, same information. Okay, but this is not I'm hiding when I click on this, because I feel like I यहाँ पे hover करेंगे तो समझ ही जाएंगे. Why to add the same information? Why to create a redundancy and all of this? No, this is a different context. It is just adding context without your opening. This just making it more functional in a way, so I can directly just go through it. And if there is a international flights, I can see let's say if there is a stop, I don't think from there is a Hyderabad stop, so I can just see what is HYD and all, right? Because these layovers are you usually don't select if you are going for international flight. This stops you usually don't select, so you might not able to understand what is BLR. I think those people who are traveling might understand, but I would like to include those who are searching for the first time. What is BLR? What is BOM? यहाँ पे तो मैंने कंप्लीट बेंगलुरु लिख किया था, यहाँ पे पूरा मुंबई लिखा था. Here also I'm basically giving some learning over it. Like Mumbai is BOM, BOM, BLR is Bangalore is BLR. Okay, but whenever there is a stop, user haven't selected that or something like this. COK, what is it? COK, like user won't be able to understand. But even if they don't understand, they can click and they can see, okay, COK is Cochin International Airport. Those who want upfront, they can just hover on this and they would see this particular information. And I'm not only calling out the only Cochin International Airport, I'm also calling out, here is the change of planes you have to do. There's a 1.1 hour 5 minutes आपको रुकना भी पड़ेगा, and all of those things. So contextual information I'm adding, but this is not the only place I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it inside also. Okay, so always use the hover functionality, as it will just aid more uh, faster in a way, but always have the context whenever there is a uh, clear indication in a way. Like over here, you can click on this particular flight, but I'm not only relying on this thing. User might say, "ये hand आ गया तो क्या है?" Some of the user might not able to think about the older ones and all. Okay, but still I'm giving this flight details. If you want to see flight details, sometimes user think, no, अरे यहाँ पे flight details कहाँ पे दिखेंगे? What should I do? They might just they can might just miss this particular hand. But then when I add this flight detail, then there is a context is basically clear. Okay, when they come over here, I'm highlighting book button also, so they know what is the main task they need to do. Okay, otherwise I'm not showing that book button as in as dark book, because this is the important information they have to uh, see first, right? I don't want book button for them to see in a way while they are going through this data. But contextually, I'm just indicating book bhi karo in a way. Like this is the way to move ahead in a way. Okay. So again, this is device independent. So abhi, if I see this in mobile also, I do not have to worry about, okay, मैंने uh, like people will not be able to understand what is BLR and all, because when they click, they are getting the whole context. So this is was making making design device independent. Moving on to next. Sensory characteristics. Okay, don't provide instruction that relies solely on sensory characteristics of components such as shape, color, size, visual location, orientation, and sound. Okay, so this is basically in simple way, provide information to multiple sensory channel. ओके, जैसे ही आप गूगल पे करते हो तो वाइब्रेट भी होता है, राइट? इट गिव्स सम वाइब्रेशन आल्सो. और मे बी यू आर टाइपिंग ऑन कीबोर्ड, द if your settings are on, then you get that tick 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 tick, like the sound also when you are typing it. Or also you can get the vibrations also. Even if you get the phone, it vibrates as well as it rings in a way, right? So it is like using the multiple sensory uh, channels to communicate a particular thing. Okay, or communicate a important thing. Do not just use it blindly. यूजर कुछ भी करे तो मोबाइल वाइब्रेट होना चालू हो जाए या साउंड देना चालू हो जाए. बट ऑलवेज थिंक अबाउट इन दिस सेंस. Okay, recently we added Amazon Pay के लिए, whenever you pay there would ring a sound actually. जैसे आप जीपे पे करते हो तो there is a sound that comes when you pay via phone pay or Paytm. There is a familiar sound that comes that which says like the payment is done. Okay, so this is again providing the multiple using the multiple sensory channels to convey a particular information. This is useful for the, let's say, not only for us in a way, but for those who are maybe blind, they can still make the payment. Like they can use a screen reader, and when they get that particular ringtone, they understand, okay, I have made the payment in a way. Okay, so that is what you're saying. Benefit is people who are blind or have low vision may not be able to understand information if it is conveyed by shape or and or location. Use multiple channels. Orientation of content. Don't restrict your design to only portrait or landscape unless a specific orientation is necessary. So if you have seen, if you're using, let's say, a tablet, okay, I use tablet most of the time for content consumption. So imagine if YouTube just suddenly stops the uh, landscape orientation, like in a horizontal fashion, you can't be able to use. It will be like a day and night change for me in a way. Like you usually use portrait mode as well as the landscape mode. That's why whenever I use Geo app, I don't feel like using it because it is does not provide the landscape mode, that simple functionality itself of landscape mode, right? So always provide more ways to uh, like more ways as in provide the orientation also for your particular application. Do not just restrict to one orientation. That what it means. Okay, there are users who would be using it in a different use cases. Like this can be useful for user with dexterity impairment or who have the mounted devices with a fixed orientation to view the content. So अगर किसी के पास सिर्फ horizontal like landscape mode में ही if they can use the tablet or something, then it will be difficult if your app is not having the orientation changes built into it. Okay. Alternative to device motion. If you use device motion to activate a feature, then provide an alternative user interface or the feature for the feature to allow for the feature or allow the user to disable the motion activated activation of the feature. What is the motion activated feature they have seen when they're using their phone or tablet or something? Can anybody think of this particular feature? Mo- which is basically depends on the device motion itself. Um, but there is an alternative. Specifically, I think if I talk tell you about YouTube, like if sometimes when you change the rotation orientation, if the video is not adjusting to the landscape mode, there is still a button which you can put and then it goes full screen in a way, right? So maybe that is alternative to the device motion itself. What can be else? What are the other things that you can think of which are dependent on motion, but there are alternative also. One thing I would say is uh, like pick up to wake up in a way. Like when you pick your phone, it actually wakes up. But if it is not working, still your power button is there to just turn on your display, right? What else you can think of? By this brainstorming, basically, we can next time when you're creating any particular functionality, uh, you can think of these things, how you can use the device motion to actuate any particular feature. Not only device motion, I think over here when it says alternative to device motion, I would say I would change it to alternative to sensors, device sensors. Okay. There is another one again. This is payment related. So if you would see, I have seen Google Pay app. Like if it is dark, and let's say you are using your phone to make payment in a dark environment, let's say on petrol pump at night, so it automatically flashes light whenever you open the scanner. It just senses there's a less light and it just opens the torch as well. So that is again depend not only depending on the sensor, but there is a button also you can click on the torch icon and it will again give you the torch. So for keyboard only users, okay. So focus visible. Clearly define and design the focus state of input element. Uh, change of content like text should not take place on focus. Like take should not take place on focus. Focus visible means you have to ensure the focus state, the focus state is clearly visible so that user can easily see where they are in a particular application. Let me show you how. Okay. Let's say I don't have mouse or something. Okay, I'm only keyboard. This is for keyboard only users, right? It says keyboard only users. So let's see if I want to just search on this website, I'm using the tab, and you can see over here, this bar is coming. Are you able to see this? And if I go to left, if I keep press the left navigation arrow, इधर और ही गया, अच्छा हाँ गया जा रहा है. So left, so ये first, second, third, then 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. So this is the focus visible. Getting me? When I click tab, it will switch to somewhere else. So you can see it is switching this context, right? ये तो टैब का है. आई थिंक गूगल ने भी ऐड किया है इन अ वे ये फोकस, लाइक इन देयर वेबसाइट. Okay, so this way, without using mouse, I can just go through all these options. So you can see, if I want to type anything, if I tap, it's moving over here. Again, if I press tab, it is moving to the star. Then I can click enter and it will get. कुछ हो तो नहीं रहा है. I think this is not device in keyboard only user friendly. I don't know, but this is what it means when it says focus visible. Okay, if you are able to see my screen, I'm just click on tab and it is navigating to all of this. So this focus is visible. Okay, so people with attention limitation, short-term memory limitation, or limitation in executive processes benefit by being able to discover where the focus is located. I'm not sure about what is the benefit they have written, like short-term memory limitation से क्या होगा यार? I think it is just for people though, or maybe I'm missing something, but this is mostly for people who are only on keyboard. And also, if there's like blind person or something, they can also, the screen reads actually. So whenever you are clicking on tab, the screen reads what is the option that is in the focus. Okay, for those users also it is uh, good, because they won't be able to hover their mouse, right? Even in a way, mouse is not usable for them, so they have to rely on the keyboard and the navigation for the navigations. Okay. Then again, keyboard shortcuts. Define shortcuts that can be easily used with one hand for common operations. Make use of some common keyboard shortcuts. Don't conflict with existing browser. Okay. So again, you can see you can use the complete Figma with the browser, and but it does not. You can use the complete Figma with in your browser with all the shortcuts, and it does not hamper with the browser shortcut itself. But there are some way you might find a conflict, and that's why there's a Figma app as well. Okay, so that also you have to always think about if for the inclusivity. Okay. So this is about keyboard shortcuts. Let's move on to logical tab order. Yeah, you always also have to specify what is the tab order. Clicking on tab, okay, over here. Let's say I'm here and I'm just clicking on, sorry, tab. It has to go in certain order, right? Like it is going from search to this search by voice, then search by image, then it is going to Google search, then it is going to I'm feeling lucky, then Hindi, and all of these languages. Okay, because there is a certain order, and this order also has to be specified, right? Then only it will make sense. Otherwise, it can it can move to anywhere, and this is not by default in a way. Okay, somebody is specifying all of this. Nowadays, HTML is written in a div, so it usually follow the div structure. Divs में माने अगर मैं इसको इंस्पेक्ट करूँ, you will see ये सब ब्लॉक में बना हुआ है. So there is this div, ये div में these many divs are there. So ये header का एक div है. You can see over here like div is the div. So everything about this particular header is written in this div. Okay, then this section, then other, this search bar section, then there is a bottom section, and then finally I think it's a footer section. Okay, so this div, usually the screen readers go by the div, and they read by the divs, the way it goes like this: about, store, then it will go to, we'll just open this div and it will just find this. So nowadays this screen readers are smart, but sometimes you'll have to mention also. Like somewhere Google also must have mentioned कि after store it has to move to Gmail. Like otherwise in the div it does not show up in that particular manner. At least to me, there might be something going on over here. It is inside some div, and then there is a Gmail, an image, and so on. Okay. Click on tab, it is fluid, right? Like it is switching very easily in a way. Okay. So sometimes you'll have to mention this particular sequence also. So that is the tab order. Okay. Let's move to next. For keyboard only users, okay. Option to skip select section. Okay. Include a skip to main content link before the header for keyboard user which is visible only when it has focus. Skip to main content. Skip to main content. I just know there is tab and sometimes the navigation menu also work. I'm not sure about the skip to main content. Maybe you guys can Google this and just can see what is skip to main content link they're talking about. Okay. Keyboard user can reach content with fewer keystroke. Screen reader users can easily skip some section which are not relevant to them. Yeah, maybe this is more on the screen reader or something like that. It usually skips some of the sections which are not related to the user. Touch target. Yeah, this is again same as ensure that the touch target are at least 9 mm height by 9 mm width. So when this 9 mm actually converts to the DP, it becomes 48 pixels actually. Earlier Windows guidelines used to have this 9 mm and because 9 mm doesn't change, right? And at that time Android had a lot of types of screens. And so basically the 9 mm wouldn't change independent, it is independent of screen in a way, right? But later we moved to DP and Google standardize all the like MDP, XDP, XXDP. You can learn about this Android, about the different pixel densities. Yeah, this is the one. This image I thought was the same. Mm, yeah. So in short, basically, Android have fixed this DP sizes. So any manufacturer let them make any let them fit in more pixel into their devices. Like let them making 2K, 4K, 5K or 8K displays for their mobile. It would be those pixel independent. It would be more on the your designs will be pixel independent in a way. Okay, so what does it mean actually? Let's say if you're having higher end device with the, let's say, 2K or 4K resolution of the screen, what it will do whenever there is an image in your application, it will just call for the 4x image because that device will be mapped to XXX DPI, HDPI in a way. Okay, so whatever they will get this 4x image, it will look more crisp or more sharper for that particular device. If the device is not that high range or something, let's say it is a normal device with, let's say, 320 pixel density, uh, around 320 pixel density. It's like in 1 inch there are 320 pixel in it, for example. Okay, then it won't call for this particular image because the 4x image, वो सारे पिक्सेल्स इतने पिक्सेल्स ही है नहीं दिखाने के लिए ना, for this particular image. So it will efficiently call for 2x image, and it will also look very sharper in your devices because your device actually supports the HDPI version. So what we usually do, we usually design for MDPI, that is 160 density what is it? It's called as pixel per inch itself. So per inch means in an inch, how many dots are over there, and then how many pixels in a way are there. So this gets mapped to your device, and as per that device, any particular image will get call out from your server. So your server will have all these images assets in a way, and as per the device, it usually calls. Okay. Earlier, this was a mess. But 10 years back, it was a really mess because there were a lot of various sizes of devices. You would get like a tab with HDPI version also. So it would just call out for this particular image, and it would not look that crisp. Okay. So basically, the manufacturer understand the importance of having this particular structural way, and then they basically sorted this out, and our life also become better when this particular system came into picture. So we usually design for the baseline product, which is MDPI 1x में बनाते हैं ना हम लोग, and we take usually 360 का, like over here if you see, this is not, if I just go to Android large, yeah, 360 width and 800 height. That depends again. That depends on the aspect ratio. Or if you want to show the scroll, you can show the scroll also. But 360 is the base line. And whatever you will create, let's say if I'm creating 44 or let's say 50 height button over here, it will look in this device 50 pixel height itself. On this device, it will automatically become like a 75 pixel height if we measure it in pixel. Okay. And for this device again, it will be 100, it will be 300, sorry, not 300, 150, and so on. You get the idea. And for iOS it's 1x, 2x, 3x. Simple. They have only three, uh, like their pixels are mapped to this three densities itself. So 1x, 2x, 3x, iOS. So we usually create for 1x, which is basically if you create 360 के लिए, that will be again 1x in any which ways. Okay. You don't have to worry about these things in a way nowadays. Okay. So your touch target is 9 mm by 9 mm, which again in 1x it converts to 48 by 48 for Android device and 44 by 44 in iOS device.